Hi, welcome back. Hopefully you're enjoying yourselves. You are learning a lot. You're a learning machine. I have an interesting book for us to do today, but before we do that, I just want to make sure that you are liking these videos as much as I am. I'm trying to make sure that this is meaning something in value and also intellect. Building an understanding of what we read and what we do is very important in life these days, and also thinking about the logic involved too. And that's very important too, to kind of see where things play out. And understanding what we read is very important to what we do in life. So I think that really gives a lot of value. And that's why I'm doing this. And I love reading, and I'm trying to read as much as I possibly can. But your day gets kind of away from you sometimes. But let's get started with this one. So this is called Mind Over Matter, and it's by Peter Hollins. And I think I've done a couple books of his before. I think he's a fantastic author. What I know about him on the back of the book is that he has 2 degrees in psychology. And I think this is a late 2000s book, I do believe. I don't always have a date on them. Sometimes they don't say they have a date. I try to look for the stuff in there. But anyway, besides the point is that he does a really good job of writing stuff, and he does set some goals for writing too, which I really like. And so let's go ahead and do this. It's called Mind Over Matter. So very interesting to kind of have that. But the book, it's not a very lengthy book. Let me kind of give you a page count. It's about 200 pages, which is not too bad, but there's a lot of big words. It's a lot of big font. So it doesn't really take that much time to read a page if you think about it. But there is a lot of good stuff in that book. But anyway, this book is really about motivation and how you put that into action. And it's kind of, you're kind of putting your goals into work. And he has these directed or direct techniques that helps you get there, that endures that action to come up. It's like a difference between knowledge and action. And it takes a lot of self-discipline. Self-discipline has to be learned. You're not born with self-discipline, but you're not born with laziness either. And I think that we do. We kind of learn laziness and procrastination because it's where our mind is. And that's part of what we're trying to desensitize or trying to get rid of. Trying to, they call it in psychology, behavioral psychology, you're trying to extinct it. Extinct that means you're trying to get rid of that behavior. Conditioning is the opposite of that. We condition ourselves to do this, to do that, but we want to get rid of those habits, so we want to take it away, which is kind of, it's called it, you're distinction it, or you're kind of, you're taking it away. Anyway, but you have this balance of anxiety. And what he calls this in the book, he says that we battle with anxiety and stress all the time. And sometimes that gets away from us and we lose ourselves in the daily activities of stress and anxiety. And you have to learn to control that and also have mastery over it to get rid of it, to get that motivation back, to get that mind thinking back. And it's really just that it's one of the best weapons is self-discipline. And how do you learn self-discipline? I'm going to we're going to show you here. But our mind is hijacked by emotions and triggers and otherwise damaging our thought process when we go through the day. And I think that we only have so much willpower when we wake up, so much mental energy, that we waste a lot of it thinking about. I mean, I do sometimes. I sometimes don't always go to bed clearly. I have to, my brain's always going, and I think about things in this way, and it takes a little time to calm myself down a little bit in your thoughts. I think that's how you kind of analyze yourself. But he kind of goes through these 5 mental hindsights to self-discipline. He says that words we say is the most important. Giving into our senses. We have five senses, and I think that we give into those a lot, and that takes away what we do, what we like to accomplish in life, or even in just a day. And we have amenity and malice, and we have epithety and laziness. We have anxiety and remorse, and hesitation and doubt. These are the five mental hindsights that we're gonna go through. And we are surrounded by distractions all the time, and some of them are good, some of them are bad, and we rely on our senses to help us through the day. I mean, that's kind of, our brain is trying to protect us, and sometimes we don't want to deal with certain things because our brain's not like, oh, wait, hold on, is that good for us? Are we okay? And it takes you a lot of willpower and a lot of dedication to put yourself in at ease. But another thing is that anger is our strongest emotion. Anger is. We get angry all the time because maybe we're jealous. You're jealous of your ex dating somebody else, and you see them together, and it's like, oh my God, I'm jealous of that. I want to be there. I don't know what I screwed up, and that creates these unsorted, these bad feelings. And we get really bitterness in things because we want that, and we think it's unfair. No, why don't I have that? I'm just good enough. And that anger stops us. So that's another mental hindsight there. We need to be human. I mean, what's a human? We get laziness, we get boredom, and I think we put that in ourselves because we don't want to deal with certain things in life. We have this anxiety and remorse, is that it overpowers us. Anxiety stops us. It's like a fight or flight when you are, confronted by a certain circumstance, and we get overwhelmed by stress and worry. And then the next one is uncertainty. I mean, if you had to have one word in the day, it would be uncertainty, because you don't know what's going to happen in the next 5, 10 minutes, next day, and it's hard. Depends if where you live and what you do. And we don't know, because if you have low self-esteem, if you have low assertions of yourself or low aspirations of yourself, getting uncertainty is going to make you even have more anxiety, and it's hard to fight over that. And our brain just wants us. Our brain is controlled to protect us. And it's the reality of things is that we want things right now. And we live in a fast-paced world. I mean, go on Amazon, you want something just like that, and it arrives maybe the day of that day or the next day if you have Prime. And part of it, that teaches us that we can get things right really quickly. And so I think we kind of have to put that to a side. And we are so confronted with that kind of stuff that it just puts us in that mindset, like we want things now, we can get it now, and we had to slow ourselves down to get that stuff. And patience can be very frustrating. How you learn patience, it takes a lifetime. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, and we don't always have that time, and we also don't remember it. And so patience is that. So anyway, it's really just, we have this ability or this pleasure principle that we want out of life. And it's really stressful on us because we want to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And I think I said this in a couple other books, is that some pain is good. And that pain puts us in a situation that, okay, my leg is hurting. My leg is hurting. Okay, why is it hurting? Well, it's bleeding. Well, why is it bleeding? Because I hit it on something. Or my elbow, my elbow is hurting or stunned, or I hit my funny bone. And my brain is telling me, say, hey, you know what, there's something going on down there. So it's good pain. And pain's a powerful motivator too. But we'd like to seek pleasure and reward all the time, and people work harder to avoid pain. It's just things come with time, and I think we just live in a fast-paced world that we just we get conditioned that way, and we got to think a little differently. It's harder to think that way too, and you just have to kind of be patient. And that's like I said, it's frustrating. Self-discipline is the act of putting mind over matter and dictating exactly what your actions and behaviors are. So I did martial arts for a long time, and it taught me discipline on myself because when you're going to start martial arts in karate, you're out there and you're like, I have no information, or my body's not conditioned to do that yet. And then after a couple years, maybe let's go smaller. Let's go a month or two into it. You get to see results because your body is actually getting better, and you get competitions moving up, and then you get more practice, but you also have to be patient with yourself because it is patience when you're learning something new, especially if you're learning martial arts. Another thing is golf. If you ever taken golf, we were never meant to play golf, but that's a whole another thing. But back to that, martial arts is that when I was learning that, I had to learn discipline about myself, be patient, and I think that's what got me to be a lot more disciplined in myself. And I do appreciate that mind and spirit and body aspect of what they should teach, what they do teach in karate. I'm hoping they do that. But it is a fluid process. Self-discipline is not something that you get right quickly. It's very fluid. It's just this wave of information and process into how you get to be down to earth, not over analyzing things, and not being impatient, which what I think we get in especially our fast-paced world. But we need to get rid of those distractions and alleviate discomfort. And that comes with that sacrifice a little bit. We got to sacrifice some things in order to do that. We need to do the hard work. We can't take the path of least resistance. And that's your habit forming. That's your skills, your talent that you're using to make sure you become a better person. And we want to get rid of these negative assumptions about ourselves, that I can do this, I can do this. And it's really just what your mind is doing. And your mind is controlling your thoughts and your feelings, but it's really not that hard to accomplish this and get that self-control under control. And it's just, you have to make small adjustments. We always want things right now, or you want to get better at something, or you want to train yourself not to have an anxiety attack, not to be worried. You have to make small adjustments in your life, and in your thinking, to understand yourself. And I think that if you think about it, and in your forehead, you kind of think of it like a big line, but a speed of light vein that goes this way. And what you want to do is kind of split that in half, and then split it in half again, and make small adjustments throughout your mind. So, thinking like we have a line that we want information, we want to get to here to there in our head, but we got to slow things down in order to get through the whole line of information, if you want to think of it that way. Maybe that was a bad example, I don't know. But we want ways to help us do this, accomplish that. And I think I mentioned this in a couple of videos. And so Peter suggests that the SMART goals, in order to help develop the self-discipline in this goal. If you don't remember about the SMART, it's just a acronym for you kind of want to form something to get yourself better, and that's an acronym to help achieve a goal. Anyway, and it's called SMART. If you ever heard of it, there you go. The S is for specific. You want to set specific goals and not so ambiguous, to help you with getting things under control in your head or in your life too. And you want things to be detailed a little bit in your mind, but you also want things to be measured. You want to see the outcome of this, and you want to see the accomplishments. The A of SMART is that it has to be achievable. We want to see results. And I think if we set goals too high or too broad, and we kind of get discouraged. And so we're trying to help ourselves achieve that self-discipline. And, but you also need to set those in a timely manner. And I think that's what the T stands for in SMART. I know I'm missing the R, but I don't. This is not the point of this video. Is that I'm trying to. He's just suggesting that we need to have this resistance too, and we also need to build daily habits to get ourselves the discipline we need to go through life, to lower that anxiety and get that motivation going again. We got to maximize our positive and minimize our negatives. And we do this all the time. We think about hopefully we think about the pros and the cons to everything. And sometimes the cons do outweigh the pros or vice versa. And that's always hard to analyze that. And sometimes we just jump in the river without learning how to paddle. And we just let the stream take us away. That's good, but you also have to have a little logic. And logic is overridden by emotions too. And emotions do play a very important detail in your life. Like, for example, anger is one of our powerful emotions. Happiness is good, but happiness is different for everybody else, just like success. So he has, in the book, he suggests that we have these if-then techniques. And he says, if I do this, then this will happen. So, for example, if I ask this person out because I really just think that we can get along, then I will be happy in my life. And we do these techniques all the time. And sometimes it doesn't work out. What if she doesn't, if I don't do this, then I won't have a relationship. If she says no, then I will just leave it as that. And we have these techniques to kind of encode our brain into do the following things in our life. It helps us kind of put ourselves at ease. You're kind of running through these different aspects in your life, and sometimes that can cause a lot of anxiety too. And so sometimes I don't always agree with that. About what he said about the if-then, because you can start going off tangent with if-then, and you can put yourself in an anxiety state. I think maybe it's just moderation. And I think to help you out with this, with life, and just motivation in general, and I think that's kind of what he's aiming at in the book, about a little bit about what to seek to not make you so stunned or stuck in life, is kind of, you want to have somebody there to help you through it. We all have best friends. I'm hoping we have some best friends, or just some really good friends to help you through life. Parents are not really friends, they're your parents. And I know that sometimes we say, oh, my mother is my best friend. Yeah, but there should be a professionalism too in that. And they also need to be your parents. It's like a teacher. Your teacher's not your best friend. No, they're your teacher. For temporary needs. I think you have to define friend, and that's hard too. But if you don't agree with that, that's fine. But I think there is a fine line between a professional and your friend. But that's for you to decide. But we have to have what we call an he calls it accountability partner. Somebody there to kind of help you through life. It's like a coach. You're going through the gym. You may be going to the gym and there's a gym person there to help you out. Or a gym partner says, we're going to the gym today. Yep, we're going to work out 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there. We're going to go rest for this many minutes. And then we're done. And maybe if you don't have to go to the gym to do that, maybe that's somebody that you call every week and say, hey, how are we done? What are we doing? How's it? How's our skills doing? How are we progressing? Or maybe you have a peer, like a student. Maybe you're in a class and you just like, I just don't know about this class. I'm stuck at English, for example, and it's like I know it, but That's why you have this friend. This friend says, did you turn in your assignments? Did you spell check? Did you ask for questions? Did you get help? And somebody to check in. And I think that's really something that we should have. We need somebody to help us push through. And it's a two-way street too. You help me, I help you through this, and you keep that accountability going until the very end. We need to look for the small stuff too. Small things add up to big things, and we got to keep our eye on the prize too. But we also don't need to jump in the river without a paddle. We need to learn to make sure that we have the proper skills first before we go stepping down that river. We also, we look for the correct answer, but sometimes it's hard to search for the correct answer. I think that's part of religion. Religion kind of builds that. We always want to look for an answer, and religion helps us find that answer. And because we don't know. And some people, maybe they think they're 100% sure, but I really think that maybe they're not 100% sure. They're just trying to find their evidence for their head, how they think that way. Not everybody has the answers. Answers change. Science changes. Religion changes a little bit, I do believe. I'm not a very religious person, but I think that things change a little bit in religion. I'm not going to go into that, but I think that's my view. But a lot of times we take the path of least resistance, as I said before, and we kind of go for the short way. We don't want to do the hard stuff. We don't want to experience that certain class. We don't want to go through that teacher because that teacher is mean. But maybe he's a good teacher. Maybe he's just set in his ways and he wants to make you learn. You got to do homework. You got to go to class. You got to participate. That boss of yours, that boss is a hard ass, but maybe that hard ass is a way to get you in a beneficial way. Maybe that's not really the best word, but in a way that makes it better. Sometimes the most troubling bosses help you throughout life. They can go too far. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but they can also go a little bit more than what they should. But you can't really cheat yourself a lot, and you can cheat. A lot of people cheat because they just don't want to do the hard work. But someday it's going to catch up to you, and you got to demonstrate those skills. Cheating gets you so far, but you also have to remember someday it's going to stop, and you have to demonstrate your skills. That's kind of where it comes up. In the book, and he has a formula for self-discipline, and I think that's kind of like the point of this book is teaching your skills and techniques to get yourself out of a rut. So he has a formula. It's called self-discipline is equal to personal motivation plus positive benefits minus discomfort and distraction. Interesting. I do like that. So, we like the care of what we do. We do like the personal motivation. We like to care of what we do in life. We want to survive. We want to make better for ourselves. And we want to think about the positive benefits that come to that. Well, someday I want to live in a nice house, but you got to work for it. You can't just sit there and say, well, they have a good house. My mom and dad have a good house. I want that house. No, you got to work for it though. I mean, that's part of life. You got to test yourself in the rough waters. You got to also have resistance to distractions. We get distracted by a lot of good stuff. I mean, look at TikTok, for crying out loud. Instagram. We do this. Some people spend hours on it, and maybe they work from it, but a lot of times it's about entertainment. We like to be entertained because our brain likes to have more fun than pain. Think of it like smoking. Smoking. You have to think about people that smoke. It's like, well, why do you smoke? Well, you smoke maybe because you want to feel good. You want to have an altered state of consciousness. You kind of want to delay the pain And how do you quit that? Well, you got to recognize that it's costly. It's the health on your body and and also the mind, and you're just masking the pain. Oh well, it's hard to quit. It's always hard to quit. But try not to start in the first place. Think about other ways of handling that stress. Um, and you really just need to have control and control your impulses. In the book, he says that one way to control our impulses is it takes time to do this. Count to 10. If you really want something, count to 10 and see if you still want it, or try to delay it as much as possible. Now, I really want that big cheeseburger, but I'm on a diet. Okay, but count to 10. Distract yourself. Write things down. Write some facts down. Why do you want that? Oh, because I have a craving for it. I'm hungry. Technically, you're hungry, and you want that juicy cheeseburger. You ask why questions. Why do you want that? Is it going to set you off track in what you're trying to accomplish with yourself? Yes. You try to distract your brain, because that's part of self-discipline. Self-discipline is a way to distract your brain that says, don't let the other part come over. You're kind of battling this yin and the yang, the good and evil, if you think about it. You're trying to balance this little meter. And that's part of the book that he's trying to say, is that, it's a lot of your mind plays into what you do in life. And there is some other things that maybe happen throughout your life, and sometimes you can't always control them. Peer pressure is one. And peer pressure is something that we all go through, even as adults. And it's hard to overcome that. And you just have to learn to control yourself and say no, and say, I don't think that's right for me. You don't always have to say no. You just have to say, I don't think that's right for me. And that's part of peer pressure, is that you got to outsmart the other people sometimes. And it's about what you say, not what you do. But it's also how you respond to things. And responding is the best way. All right. Well, interesting book. Peter Holmes, like I said, Hollins, sorry. He does a really good job of writing, and he gets a lot of good facts. And I think this is very recommended. Where I picked this up, I think I bought a lot of books on Amazon. I couldn't find this in the bookstore that we have here. It's okay. But he does have a whole collection that you can get, and I don't think it was that much. I think this was like maybe $10. This was a couple years ago, so don't know. Anyway, highly recommended book. I think that it deserves its purpose. It's a good read. So hope you enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to doing this more. So thank you.